Times are tough, so save time and money by skipping business trips and using GoToMeeting. Visit gotomeeting.com/techpodcast and get 30 days for free. Nokia, most known for its cell phone division, is actually going to be releasing a netbook. Now, most netbooks you expect them to be about $200, $300, $400 in that range, and about 7 to 8 inch screen around there with a pretty low-powered Intel Atom processor in them. This netbook, however, it shares a lot of those same things except for one big difference: the price tag. It's $800. Nokia announced this earlier in the month, maybe within the last 2 months, but now today they've said that they're going to be selling it at Best Buy exclusively. What's going on here, and is this actually something people are going to care about or even want to buy? Obviously, I have my concerns. Let's ask the experts. We bring in Erica Ogg from CNET. Erica, thanks for being with us.
Of course. Also,
we bring in Brad Linder from Liliputing. Brad, thanks for being with us as well.
Thanks for having me.
It's one of those situations where I kind of leave my head scratching a little bit. Of course, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Nokia actually started out as a tire manufacturer in Finland back way a long time ago, and then somehow they managed to stumble into cell phones, but now they're trying to stumble into netbooks, and it looks like a stumble to me. An $800 netbook, no matter the build quality, seems a little bit overpriced. I don't know, Erica, what's your take on this? I mean, why, if you can kind of think for Nokia, like, what do you think Nokia is going for here? And then, what's your initial impressions of this?
Well, the first thing I think of is it sounds like the thing that Sony announced at CES back in January was their very expensive netbook, but they didn't really want to call it a netbook.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing here. I think they're aiming for a certain audience that will shell out because it sounds like it's more of a high-end machine. Granted, it sounds like, and I haven't seen this booklet from Nokia at all, but having a long battery life, like a lot of people will pay for that. So that could be something that's interesting to a very small subset of people. But I mean, if you just want to go to the store and like Best Buy, where it's going to be, and look at the shelf and see what kind of netbooks are available, price-wise, there's going to be so many other options that are much cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, this is one of hundreds of netbooks now. I mean, I'm not sure if it's literally hundreds, but Brad, you probably would know best. Brad does Liliputing, which is sort of this smaller computing site. Now, Brad, obviously you cover this all the time. How do you compare this to other netbooks?
Well, it's interesting because I think there is this push towards 3G enabled netbooks, and that's really what Nokia's interest is here. Is it's got a 3G modem built in, and you'll be able to buy it from Best Buy, but presumably a wireless carrier. We don't know if it's Verizon, AT&T, or somebody else. But a wireless carrier is going to provide always available internet access to you when you purchase this. And so I think that's where Nokia is going. A lot of people see netbooks as always connected internet devices, except most of them right now have Wi-Fi. They don't have HSDPA modem or HSUPA or any of the other 3G technologies. In Europe, that's actually a lot more common, and of course Nokia is a European country. Now, what's interesting is that in Europe, there are a lot of computer makers who locked netbooks with 3G modems for a fairly high price and then subsidized 3G much lower price through T-Mobile or Vodafone or other places. So I'll be curious to see. We've been talking a lot about this $800 price tag on the booklet, but it might actually be more $500 price tag once it gets subsidized by U.S. carriers.
So, Brad, one thing that sticks out in my mind is the HP Mini. Now, Verizon is subsidizing that thing, so it's a lot cheaper than its shelf price, which I think is only about $300 or $400. So to say that Nokia, they're going to have this $800 laptop that gets down to $400 or $500 with a subsidy, I mean, that's kind of disingenuous, right? Like, it's kind of cheating to have more profit margins, I would guess.
Yeah, and it does have some premium features. I mean, it's worth considering that not only does it have the 3G modem, it's got what Nokia is saying is a 12-hour battery. That's not unique. The Toshiba NB205 has a 10-hour battery. So, I mean, long battery life is not something that's entirely unique, but it's going to have the 3G modem, a good build quality, long battery life, and a lot of features. But still, it leaves me scratching my head, too, because of the fact that you can find netbooks almost for free that are subsidized by other carriers. So unless they bring down the price even farther than I think they're going to bring it down, I'm going to be curious to see who picks one of these things up.
Well, so let's define that. If Nokia wanted to fix the problem, Erica, what do you think kind of the price point would have to be for a notebook like this? I mean, should it just be a regular, $399, $499, whatever standard netbook price, or I mean, can they drop it $100 and have it be okay?
Well, I think, like Brad said, how much it is subsidized, which it very well could be, will come into play. But from a consumer perspective, when you look at the math, when you look at how much money you're going to be spending, even if it is subsidized, if it's $30, $40 a month plus the initial $300, $400 you put down, it's still expensive, no matter how you slice it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and what's the right price though? I mean, is the right price like $299 for something like this, or is it?
I would think it would be something more akin to the pricing of a phone. We're accustomed to spending $99 or $199 for a smartphone, and then paying for a data plan on top of that. This isn't a full-fledged computer, so when you spend a lot of money, if you're going to spend more than $300 or $400, you're going to expect your little machine to do something more like a standard computer, and obviously it's a netbook, and it's not going to do that.
Well, there's a lot of problems with people, return rates of the original EPC. It was huge because, of course, it didn't even run Windows. So,
Right.
If it looks like a netbook or it looks like a laptop, people kind of expect it to act like a laptop. Brad, I mean, is there an ideal price that Nokia should be paying for this?
I think I take issue with the idea that a netbook's not a computer. It's a computer. It's a slower computer. It's a smaller computer. It doesn't have the same storage capacity. But it's going to run Windows 7. It's going to do a lot of things a computer can do. That said, it's going to be competing with a lot of netbooks that are in the $200 to $400 price range. Because of the extra features that you're getting here, I think Nokia can justify maybe charging as much as $500 for it. But because Nokia is a cell phone company, it seems weird that they would enter the market the same way that Sony did and say, we've got something special that people should pay more for. I would have expected them to really go the other end and try to do something that's going to be cheap and subsidized. If they had a $199 laptop that had some great features and you could buy through a cell phone company, I think a lot of people would jump on it.
Yeah, definitely.
But at $800 or a subsidized price, I don't know. Another thing I wanted to point out about here that a lot of people don't realize is it does have an Intel Atom processor. It has an Intel Atom Z530 processor, which is substantially slower performance-wise than the Intel Atom N270 processor that most netbooks today have. And while it has good graphics capabilities and can handle high-definition graphics, I think a lot of people are going to notice that this netbook will feel a little bit more sluggish than a lot of other ones on the market that are selling for less money.
It's definitely interesting. I mean, it's I'm kind of shocked. Basically, Nokia is saying we can just do whatever we want because we're a premium brand. I think a lot of people look at Nokia and think of like late 90s, early 2000s era cell phones, and like that is kind of what I think of when I think of Nokia. I don't think of like high-end, lots of money, P. Diddy rocking this netbook kind of, just because. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see what Nokia does. One thing, last really quick, we're running out of time. The one thing that sticks out to me is some sort of bundle deal, right? If you had a Nokia cell phone bundled with a netbook and it was, substantially cheaper, like say they throw in a N95 for free or whatever, N97, whatever it is now. I mean, Erica, do you think any of those things are like appealing, or is it kind of just, at this point, it's just still too far out there to really matter?
If they bundled the phone with the netbook?
Some sort of, their smartphone sales have been lagging. They need some way to, kickstart their phone business. I mean, some sort of bundle. Do you think that would work, or is it still like?
I mean, it seems like that could sweeten the deal, and especially if your service applied to both devices. I mean, I say sure, why not? It would be a way for them to inflate their, phone numbers as well. So, I mean, it seems like that could be a good idea, but who knows if they'll actually do that?
Of course. I mean, that's more speculation and more just me trying to hook up Nokia with some ideas. We'll see where they end up going.
Nokia is still, I think, the largest, or at least one of the largest cell phone makers in the world. I mean, they're huge in Europe, where the Symbian operating system is still very popular. So, I think in the U.S. you don't hear as much about them, and you think about that particular ringtone from early 2000s TV shows. But I don't know that their cell phone business needs that much help, as long as they can, change with the times a little bit, which they're starting to do. But
yeah, we'll have to see for sure. Guys, we're going to leave it there. Erica Ogg from CNET, thanks for being on the show. We really appreciate it. Also, Brad Linder from Liliputing. It's at liliputing.com. Thanks for being on the show as well. We wanted to say thanks to our sponsor, GoToMeeting. If you have contacts across the country but don't have the time or money to meet with them, you can try GoToMeeting for free. Our listeners can go to gotomeeting.com/techpodcast and get a month of unlimited online meetings for free. Just go to gotomeeting.com/techpodcasts. I'm Randall Bennett, and that does it for this show. Don't forget, you can catch us on iTunes or on YouTube, pretty much everywhere, so try and catch us somewhere. See you later.
This show brought to you by Petco. Go to petco.com/techv10 or use promo code techv10 and get 10% off any order.